Hi, this video is all about creating a chat or voice bot using dialogflow. I'll just show you how to create a basic dialogflow chatbot. Just type dialogflow and you can sign up. You can sign up for free. Go to the console. And here you have create new agent option. You can give your name. Today we are going to create an assistant to manage our own finance or anything according to your need, but here in this demo we are dealing with a finance assistant. By default you will have a welcome intent and a fallback intent. Welcome intent is nothing but how to handle hi, hello, good morning, all those. If you want to do it in your own way or if you want to respond in a different way, you can add it. Like this is a welcome intent and these are the training phrases. Whenever whenever user types something like hi, hello, hi, bot will be sending one or the other response from the text response which are provided in this place. If you want to respond in a different way, you can add your own response. By default, if you create an agent, you will be having welcome intent and a default fallback intent. Default fallback intent is nothing but if it doesn't understand your question, it is going to tell us, I didn't get that, can you say it again, I missed that. All this response, a default response, default fallback response. Now if you want, for any of the need, we will have to create our own intents, our own entities. Now I'm going to create an intent. Click on create intent, give a name for your intent. I'm going to create query expense. Okay, before we start doing with our bot, I'll just show you the data which we are going to use and also what is the purpose of creating this bot. Consider we have a expense sheet data set, maybe for a personal data or for a business level, whatever it is. If we have an Excel data like this, similar to this, for this data set is more about husband and wife's every month expense, like how much they spent on salary, food, travel, shopping, books, funds and all the other things for both of them, wife and husband. In this data set we have only 1.5 years data, 2018 and 2019 data. From this we are going to come up with a bot which will tell us, okay, last year how much I spent on books or something, like on an average how much I'm spending on gifts every week, every month. Those kind of questions can be asked to this bot. How to train a bot to answer all such questions, that is what we are going to learn now. To do that, first of all we need an intent. We created a query expense intent. You save the intent. Now one by one, there are a lot of, if you see the intent block, there is something called context, events, training phases, action and parameters, response, what needs to be filled in all this for your bot to respond properly. First hand, for any bot to work, we should let them know about our entities. What are the different entities that we have? If you look into this data, the different entities that we have are the categories. What categories, on what category you are going to ask questions, and there are names. If you see, there is a wife, there is a husband, so we need to have a name. These are kind of entities that we are going to capture from this. And also we will be talking about dates, like that on January 2018 or something like last year, last 6 months, last 10 months. We can come up with our own questions, but entities as a whole going to be in the context of these salary, these columns and names and the dates. Basically this can be, we can tell something like we have 3 categories, 3 entities here. One is the date, other is the name, other one is a category as such. I am going to create an entity which is going to be my name. It will ask for at least one value. Here I'll give name our wife, husband. Maybe we can ask for both of us, right? So I am going to have one more as us itself. By default, if you see here, enter synonym. If by default all of these words will be understood by the bot, but if in case instead of us, if you tell we, bot will not understand. But those are the synonyms of us. We know it, but bot doesn't. To make the bot understanding all of the other synonyms for each word that we give as an entity can be provided here. Us, we, both of us, something similar to that. And husband, maybe they'll call hubby. For wife, maybe they are not going to tell every time wife, maybe they'll tell she, and they may tell he here. All the synonyms for each word can be given here, and these all belong to the name, entity name. Now I need few more entities, right? This is a name entity, and we came up with 3 entities to be added. Create entity. This is a category. What category? Category can be all the 6, 7 has all the categories has to be filled in the category section. Okay. I already have a bot which has been filled with all these data. Okay, this is our expense intent, the intent that we created as a query. If you see here, category, metric and name. Name, as I said, husband as wife, those things. And for metric is something like, what if we are not interested on knowing a specific month or specific year, we are not specific, but we want to know the insights from the data, like the average, highest, lowest on each category, who spent most. For that we have used a metric entity which has average, high, low. If you want to have some more in this, like if we want to add some more metrics related to your data set, this can be added in this. Here also I have added the synonyms. One more entity, this is our category entity. EMI, gifts, what are the other ways of telling that? Maybe for books, I'll not always tell books. I'll be telling how much I spend on Kindle, how much I spent on Audible. Maybe for food, I'll not always come up with food. I may tell how much I spent in restaurants or hotels, Swiggy, Zomato, whatever other possible ways of asking food. All the synonyms has to be mentioned in this. Once you are done with all the entities, now we are good to go with the phrases, like the real sentences, statements, training phrases. If you see, we don't have to give all the possible questions that can be asked to the bot. That is impossible for anyone to train a bot like that, like giving all the possible questions a human can ask. We don't have to do that. Dialogflow does a lot of internal NLP process which will handle most of our problems. But we just have to let bot know about different patterns that are available. I'll show you how I have come up with the questions. A trick, basically for a trick for anyone who is creating a bot. See, currently I have questions will be around my wife or this duration or like shopping, the category basically. It's like 4 different entities are possible. From that 4 things, we can derive almost 24 questions from that. You create a question for each pattern. For example, how much my wife spent on shopping during May month, something like that. Try to come up with one statement, one training phrase for each pattern patterns are more than enough for the bot to understand any question. You don't have to fill with every value in the entity or every other possible values for names, nothing like that. You just have to come up with a pattern with 4 different entities. Once you have that, the best part about dialogflow is you don't have to manually sit and enter all the questions that you entered. Also, you can copy paste all the questions into a text file. Once you have this text file, you can just upload the text file in this training. There is a training option in this. Click on upload and select the CSV file and select the file which has all the questions. Just upload it, then it will be done. But I'll show you manually. I'll add one question to show you how it is identifying the entities that we have earlier created. We spent how much on shopping last year. Okay, we spent what is the on this is also fine, like we spent how much on shopping last year. When you just give this question, it will identify all the entities. You may be wondering from where this date period came into picture. This is a system entity. Dialogflow itself has some system entities which can be made use of. We don't have to be thinking about handling the dates, date period, duration, name. There are a lot of other things which are inbuilt. We have used date period here. Okay, save it, train it. Once you have the training phrases ready, this will have a response. This is a default response that we are giving, but we have to build a backend to send the response to the Dialogflow. Before doing that, we should enable the webhook for this intent. You should enable the webhook for this intent. Once you enable the webhook for this intent, in the fulfillment part, there will be 2 sections. One is for inline editor, other one is webhook. In this bot, we have used webhook. Webhook is nothing but, in this particular URL, we have a backend logic of how, once you capture all these entities, you want to browse or you want to query in the database and send the response as such, right? For that, we are using a Python code. The Python code which will connect to the database, that has been hosted as a webhook in Azure VM using Flask. In one of the other video, I'll explain about the backend things. Here we are focusing mainly on the Dialogflow. Fulfillment part. This is all about fulfillment part. Now I'll explain one more thing which will make the bot interesting. It is not about you don't have to always repeat the whole question again and again for the bot to understand. You can make use of conversation. You can make use of context to handle the states. Like previously filled entities values will be retained, so that you don't have to say it again and again to the bot. For example, if you want to have a state handling, just give any context to this intent. Whenever this intent has been hit, you will be in the spend context. Once you are in the spend context, you create one more intent as whatever, like conversation follow or whatever, but in this you give input context as spend and an output context also as a spend. Now in this, don't add the whole statement as training phrases. Here just add a single entities, highest, my wife, Jan month, shopping, like that, a small training phrases. Here also again enable the fulfillment part. We will be hitting the same webhook URL for this intent also. I'll just show you how this follow-up intent works. Follow-up. This is for the demo sake. I'll just add follow-up reached. Okay, now hi, it will just ask how good day, what can I do for you. I have not run the backend now. How much I spent on EMI on Jan 2019. Server is done. Now actually you have reached the response from the previous intent. But look at this, all these parameter values have been filled. Now you are in the intent expense intent and you are in the context spend context. Now you don't have to repeat again everything for the bot to understand. You just have to tell, if you want to change EMI to shopping, you just change it to shopping. All your values for each parameters, all the intents are retained here. This will help us in state handling.